Yeah.
Clarence Hill, Forward Star Telegram. You paused to watch the DeMarcus Ware speech. Why is that important? Did you even talk to your team about where you're going in the Hall of Fame and the steps needed to do that?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, obviously, just meeting Marcus, recently, coming here to Dallas to work, but always had such great respect for him as a player, competing against him. But then, you learn more about the man, and not just to hear him express his gratitude, humility, and I mean, it's definitely, that's what it's all about. I mean, I think he's at the pinnacle. He's being recognized, and I thought it was. I really enjoyed this. Really enjoyed the speech, and I was. Part of me was just trying to get out of this press. I was trying to get out of this press conference, but no. I mean, heck, absolutely. I mean, yeah, I thought it was great.
Like Todd Archer with ESPN, Malik Hooker has signed the extension.
Yeah.
What is it about him that made you guys want to keep him around longer?
Oh, I mean, Malik is, he came, you remember training camp when he was just, getting going and, coming off the injuries. And then, once he was able to get himself healthy, so consistent, very impactful, carries a lot of weight in the locker room. He's extremely respected by his teammates, and he's an incredible football player. I mean, you see the range that he has, his ball skills. We had a team event the other night, and I don't think people realize what a great basketball player he was, because there was a question and there was a basketball hoop involved, and he just grabbed it and put it right in. So he's an exceptional athlete that does a great job commanding the back end for us.
Newy Scruggs, NBC5 Dallas. Can you speak on what you need to see from Kelvin Joseph now that he's in year 3 for you?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think Kelvin's, he's really put into work, to expand his menu of responsibility. I like what he's been doing at nickel, and obviously special teams. He's still, one of our primary players there too. So just really the consistency of playing it, in and out of the defensive personnel groups that he's in, and he's definitely shown the ability to play inside and outside. So I think he's taking a really good step. This preseason will be big for him.
You signed with Donovan Wilson and certainly Malik, and now Diggs. You got 3 of the members of your secondary signed. How important was that to get those guys done?
Well, I mean, I'm always about signing our own players. To me, that's the most important, component of free agency that exists. Because anytime as a coach, you really sell your players to buy into the program, buy into the process, and then the ability to have them for a second contract. I mean, that's what breeds the continuity, the consistency that we're all after. So I think it's great when we're able to sign our current players back to another contract.
Sagius with The Athletic. Mike C was talking about how there's going to be a greater emphasis on the deep ball. Is that more of a philosophical shift with you taking over play calling, adding Brandon Cooks? Is that a personnel thing? How much of that is a little bit of both?
Well, I mean, we're just really, trying to put that out in the media, because we're going to throw short all day. But no, I think it's like anything. You have starting points in your offense. What's your expectations of when you teach a progression of, how concepts fit together. So our starting point is off the vertical game. I mean, that's frankly the way I've always taught the passing game. So. And so with that, the ability to get those breaking points consistent, playing faster, but also if you look at the skill set of our perimeter players, it definitely fits them too. So yeah, it's just really it's a starting point of how we want to attack the coverage unit.
Calvin Watkins, Dallas Morning News. After a handful of padded practices, how would you assess your offensive line right now?
Actually, we won't probably have our first personnel meeting until this weekend. I'm in an install mindset. I'm not really. My focus is to make sure these guys are getting all the, technique work, the fundamentals. Today's goal line. We'll put goal line in today. There'll be an 8-play goal line segment that'll be tied to the 9-on-7. So, but yeah, I mean, I'll say this: we're getting a lot of work of different combinations, which is, it's been our path, the last 3 years. So. I do know that. So position flex will definitely be important for their young guys when we get down to the roster, and so those are always a big part of those decisions. But really, our offensive lineman, as we've talked in here in recent days, is the furthest behind of any position in the NFL, just naturally because of the way this game is set up. But they're working. We got a lot of work to do, but I feel good about the progress that we made with our young guys from last year to this year.
Along those lines, Ball, I know he's got a position flex. He's in there for Zach.
Yeah.
How do you think you've seen him so far?
Yeah, he's done a lot of nice things. His athletic ability is exceptional, especially for a man. At 6'7", his ability to bend. But he can't get enough padded work technique, and that's the norm for young offensive linemen in this league. So the third and fourth year is a very, very important year for your offensive linemen, or really any player, and that's definitely the case with our young guys.
Michael Gelkin, Dallas Morning News. There seems to be less music during practice. Is that?
Why did you bring that up? I mean, what are you trying to do? You don't like it? Tell you what, one of the players come to me about that. I'm coming after you.
What's the design? Is it in terms of communication or otherwise?
No, not at all. To be honest with you, I'm all for music. I think there's a time for it, but we talk a lot about communication. The team periods. I've done music with team periods. I've done crowd noise with team periods. The crowd noise is annoying, but there's a level of communication that as coaches you want to see and hear. So when the verbal part of it is apparent, especially in install practices, I'm not. That's why you won't see me play a whole lot of music in the install, because it's a new game plan every day. So I want to make sure if something needs to be corrected, let's correct it immediately. We also have the opportunity to correct it video, but once we get into the more just pure competitive practices and things like that, we'll add the crowd noise and so forth, because today's our second red zone day, and it'll be our first goal line day, but Monday will be our last third down, so we'll start getting into crowd noise and the different cadences and things like that. So there's a progression to all this. So but that's the reason. I'm not a play the music all day guy. I think there's a lot to gain in these install practices through on the field corrective communication.
Mike, you said that you're not concerned about Zach being here. Does there come a time where you'll get concerned about him not being around?
I mean, Todd, really, it's it's business. In business, it has different timelines. And there's different timelines that you don't have any control over. So, but I do know Zach, and and nothing's changed, in my view of him. So he'll be ready to go when that time comes. But once again, he's involved in a business situation.
Mike Leslie, WFA, you mentioned DeMarcus Ware obviously having a chance to coach against him during your career. Chuck Howley's career obviously goes back a ways, but I'm just curious your impressions of him and the impact that he made on the league.
Well, I don't know much about Chuck. Obviously, I know, back in the day, I know really in the 70s is when when I started watching the Cowboys, when Tony Dorsett went from Pitt after winning a national championship. It was, as a kid, you watch the Steelers at 1 o'clock and you watch the Cowboys at 4 o'clock. So, sorry I can't give you a play-by-play of Chuck's career, but like I said, that's when I started watching the Cowboys. Yeah.
Mike, on the receivers, Brandon Cooks with his speed, CeeDee Lamb with his versatility, how much is that supplementary, and they kind of work off of each other in terms of opportunities created? Yeah,
definitely. I mean, when you're putting together game plans, obviously we're going through our concepts and getting them all taught and revved up, but you get into game plans, it's skill sets, and because we're not really attacking the defense. We're not trying to create formational matchups and things like that. But when you get to that part of the, when you get to the game plan phase of it, that's definitely where that comes into play, and it's definitely is what you're looking for, because you want guys, that have similar traits in as far as their flexibility to play different positions, but obviously that their skill sets when they're different, I think it really helps you in game planning.
Hey Mike, you talk about more competitive practice. You're still in the install phase. In the past, maybe before you got here, there were a lot of times the Cowboys had done some blue-white scrimmages, some scrimmages done before the first preseason game. You don't feel a need to do that stuff, especially since you're not competing against other teams. You need those type of live scrimmages before the first preseason game.
Well, I mean, we did it. We did it the first year out there at the stadium without the numbers on the jersey, if I recall. But yeah, when you put together the training camp, obviously, we put everything in 8 stalls, and then we got to shift gears and get ready for Jacksonville, on Wednesday next week. And then really the way we're doing it, and I think it's just a reflection of where we are, as far as the defense and really where we're at on offense. So when we get back from Jacksonville, we're going to take that Monday and Tuesday and just do as much competitive work as we can, but it's going to be more on things that, we really feel like we need more of. So we'll do that as we go into Seattle, and then we get up to Seattle, we go back to Dallas, and that's a kind of a disjointed week because we have the night practices and things like that. So we'll start, lending and peeking an eye towards the Giants, and then as far as what we're trying to get done, and then we'll get ready for our last home game there in preseason.
All right. Thank you, Mike.
Is that it? No, thank you.